Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's GeneralTarheel, your coach of the Charizards, bringing you the APA Season 3 Week 9 Team Builder versus Coach LynxForte in the South Florida Bulus. Coming into Week 9, we did pick up a nice win last week against Coach CrimsonCBad and the Detroit Steelwings. Make sure to check that out if you haven't already. It was very nice to finally break that damn losing streak, and now we are back on the winning side, and we want to keep it going versus my boy Lynx. Hopefully we can. I do have the matchup on the board as you can see, so I'm going to quickly go through his roster as he has TornadusAI, Raichu, Zoroark, Victini, Milotic, Mega Venusaur, Florges, Scizor, Druddigon, Kecleon, Quagsire. And his two Zmons being TornadusAI and Victini. Now I'm going to quickly go over all of his Pokemon individually, and then I'll just go over what I think of his team as a whole. So as for TornadusAI, a very solid Pokemon, base 111 speeds, pretty decent tier right there. Does have the Prankster ability, can add very solid Prankster Tailwind user, which is pretty rare and very helpful to a lot of games. Also gets access to, like, of course, Hurricane, stuff like that, Acrobatics. It can be a physical set if it wants to be. It doesn't always have to be special. Basically, you know, gets everything that the normal Tornadus gets. So it gets U-turn momentum, it gets the taunt, it gets all that good stuff. So it's definitely an interesting Pokemon to watch out for. I do have a solid counter to it in Electros, which I will definitely need this week, as you see between Tornadus and Raichu. But so I'm not too worried about it, but it is a great mod nonetheless, and always got to prep for it. Raichu, Electric type, very could be solid versus my team, as Electric types always are. Of course, just to break through Togekiss and Toxapex, and of course we'll be running the HP Ice from my Lando. Need to bring Electros, like I already mentioned. Between this and the Tornadus, it's already a must bring for Electros. It will help me out as much as possible. Other things Raichu could do, it could be an annoying Endeavor set. It can be a Nasty Plot set if it really wanted to actually break through my team. Just small things like that, it would actually be able to put in some work. I mean, I don't necessarily see a Nasty Plot set coming. If anything, I would expect an Assault Vest set, because it puts in work versus everything while not having the things that my Pokemon that outspeed it, and Alakazam and Greninja actually being able to revenge it. So next up is Zoroark. Zoroark is his team kill leader and one of the top Pokemon on the MVP tracker. I don't know if it actually still is. He did have like 9 kills with it within the first 2 weeks, and it hasn't really done too much since. But he obviously can use it very well, so we have to watch out for it. When Zoroark's coming this week, I'm kind of expecting more of a very strong special set. Like a Nasty Plot set with Dark Pulse, Psychic, or Extra Sensory, I don't remember which one it gets, and Sludge Bomb for the Togekiss. So that coverage really just destroys my 2 walls, and the Dark Pulse just really takes care of the rest. It would definitely be something pretty threatful to have to deal with and whatnot, so I have to watch out for that coming into this week. Victini is an absolute monster versus my team, and being one of his potential Z users is just absolutely scary, because he can just nuke one of my walls and whatnot. If this thing was choice this week, it's going to be so much easier to deal with. Don't even understand. Psychic plus Fire already hurts my team, and then just having access to the Electric to actually both be able to hit both Toxapex and Togekiss freely is just very scary. And of course, having Glaciate in order to hit my Lando T is just so annoying. Victini is actually going to be an annoying threat this game, and hopefully I can find ways to deal with it. I have to watch out for a Bandit set, a special set, a Z Crystal set with like Psycheum Z or Inferno Overdrive, and then I also have to be watching out for like a possible Flame Charge setup set, or like a Trick Room V Create. Like, Victini is pretty well rounded, and it's going to do very well versus my team. It's going to be very hard to deal with it defensively, so I'm going to have to try my best to revenge it, maybe catch it off guard with something else, and hopefully we can work around that from there. Next up is Milotic. Y'all know how much I love Milotic. Amazing bulky water type. Marvel Scale ability makes it so it's only base 75 defense, makes it much more reliable when it does get status, whether it's holding the Flame Orb or it gets status. Otherwise, 95 HP and 125 speed def. Yeah, I know the stats off the top of my head. It's my girl. Just really bulky on both sides, because of the Marvel Skill ability going along with the natural Spadef bulk. Just evens it out so well. It's a very hard mon to break down at certain times. Sometimes Milotic can absolutely just wall out a team. Some of you might not know, but I did use Milotic in an APA Showdown season. I believe it was the second season I was in with it, so I think it was APA Season 6. I picked up 16 kills with Milotic, and that's when it became known as like my Pokemon. So it's just so hard to deal with. It's kind of ridiculous. It also has amazing like things like in Mirror Coat to like reflect back any special attack units like an electric and stuff like that, because it does have the nice def bulk, so we'll be eating it up a lot and returning double to where you will for sure get knocked out. And I'm actually going to move on at this point, otherwise I'm going to talk about Milotic forever. You just know how it is. Mega Venusaur, amazing Mega. Just a very solid fat Pokemon. Between Victini, Milotic, and Mega Venusaur, this is a beautiful Fire Water Grass core. One of the favorites I've actually ever seen. Of course, having my bias to Milotic and whatnot. But Mega Venusaur is such a great Pokemon. It's just really, really fat. It gets the thick fat ability to where it's, you know, just like, I believe it's neutral to ice. I might be incorrect on that. Like, it's just so nice. It just eats every hit. You can even run offensively too, because it has amazing special attack stat. You can run it mixed with Earthquake just because its attack stat is also decent. You just like lower its speed and whatnot. Getting access to Leech Seed and Synthesis and Giga Drain, just like always getting its health back and always like lowering the opponents as well over time. Can even run Sleep Powder, of course an amazing Toxic Pokemon because it will always land. It's just a very, very reliable bulky grass type. It is one of the best, if not the best bulky grass type. Tangrowth would be right after, right before it in my opinion. The only you know, argument around that is that Mega Venusaur does waste a Mega Slot and you don't have an item for it. So, but Mega Venusaur is a very, very bulky Pokemon. I'm kind of expecting it this week. There is a chance that it doesn't come because Togekiss plus Mega Charizard plus Alakazam plus Flyzy Lando actually deal with it very well. Even Micro Ninja gets access to Extra Sensory, even though I'm not Protean, so it's not going to be doing as much. But it's kind of hard for him to kind of work around that. So you might not want to do that this week, but we'll have to see. Florges, very, very solid Fairy type. I love using this Pokemon. Amazing Spadef, pretty decent defense. You're normally going to be running a defensive Florges in order to go along with the natural Spadef. It just gets similar to Milotic. Nice wish support to go into other Pokemon if you're not capable of getting a recover off with Milotic or other things like that. You can even get a wish into like Druddigon since that doesn't have natural health recovery. Things like that. It can also be a Calm Mindset. I have run a Calm Mindset in the past. Got me a nice sweep in my championship game for PMUD League. If you want to check that out, it was actually a really cool sweep. It's nice Cleric for his team, even though he doesn't really need that necessarily, I feel like, because Mega Venusaur, if it gets burned, that's not too bad. If Milotic gets burned, he normally just wants to keep it on Milotic and get that get the Marvel Scale boost and just deal with it. So, yeah, sorry, I had to deal with something on my phone. Next up is Scizor. Scizor is a great Bug and Steel type, very reliable, much better than the Mega Scizor, I feel like, even though the stats are lacking. Having an item is so much more important for Scizor, in my opinion, than just holding a Mega Stone, no matter the stat distribution. So Scizor, very reliable Pokemon. Only 65 base speed though, so it's a little bit easier to deal with. But Choice Band could be slightly a problem, like Choice Band Momentum, but basically Attack Specs just walls it, so I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, you could run like a natural gift set if you really wanted to, but even then, Lando comes in, gets an Intimidate off, and then it makes it easier to work around it. Charizard's a direct counter. I'm really not expecting Scizor this week, even though it is a great Mon. I'm not really expecting it too much. Druddigon, very, very solid Rock Setter and a very solid bulky Dragon type, as well as offensive, because it does have the base 120 attack and access to the Sheer Force ability. Other than that, he can run a bulky like Stealth Rock set with Rough Skin Rocky Helmet. That's one I really enjoyed running it last year in APA Season 2. It's just a very solid Pokemon. You can easily find ways to always use it. It's got actually a pretty decent move pool too, so it's really something to consider in future drafts if you haven't tried it out, because I really like it. So it's a solid Pokemon. It could be a possible Stealth Rocker for this week, so I have to watch out for that. Because he doesn't have the best Stealth Rockers in my opinion. Be it's just Druddigon and Kecleon. I think that's his, yeah, that's his only Stealth Rockers. So definitely just gonna be expecting one of those guys this week. Next up is Kecleon, which I might be expecting this week, might or might not, just because of its natural Spadef bulk is absolutely ridiculous. Of course, getting access to the Protean ability, making it a little bit harder to deal with. And it's just pretty reliable like that. You know, it can actually eat so many special hits, like from Micro Ninja and Alakazam, that just recovers all of them off and he just switches out into another Pokemon. Once again, gives them potential Stealth Rocks. I believe it gets access to Thunder Wave and stuff like that. and just Protean for a Pokemon like that is just so helpful. It really is. And lastly is Quagsire. Unaware Wall, definitely expecting this week between Lando and Mega Charizard X. He absolutely needs it. Quagsire defensive coming this week 1,000,000%. I'm expecting it. Gets access to recovery, of course, for longevity. Can be run like a Scald, Earthquake mix set, stuff like that. It's going to be a little bit annoying to deal with, no doubt about that, but my Pokemon can deal with it decently well, so I'm not exactly too worried. Now, as we did just go over the Tyre's roster, basically I'm kind of expecting potential Raichu, Zoroark, Victini, Milotic, Druddigon, and Quagsire. Yeah, that's probably what I'd be expecting. There's a chance he could run like a Cabuberry Florges and bring that. That's definitely a potential possibility, but basically just gets walled by Toxapex still, so don't really see a need in that. It's just kind of hard for his team to break through Toxapex apart from Victini and Raichu, so I definitely feel like he needs to bring both of those. Otherwise, he might have some trouble, apart from, of course, a Nasty Plot Zoroark and stuff like that. So going into my team build, there was something that I 1,000,000% wanted to bring this match, and I've actually been looking forward to it since like week 2 when I thought of this. Because I was looking at teams where I felt like this was going to capitalize most, and that is Choice Band Kamala. I am so hyped to bring this. Sleep Talk Last Resort. If you don't know, Kamala with Comatose ability basically makes it to where it is always asleep. So you can use Sleep Talk, go into Last Resort. You get Last Resort every time because you can't get Sleep Talk itself when you use it. So I always get Last Resort, and I've already used Sleep Talk. So therefore, Last Resort always comes out. Base 140 normal attack stab move from Kamala, which runs 115 Adamant with Choice Band. Ridiculous damage, dude. Everything on this roster is getting 2-shot except for Scizor. Some of these things are even getting 1-shot, of course. Scizor, since it had a terrible matchup, I really wasn't expecting it to come, and if it did, this was still going to do amazing damage to Scizor, and if he was an offensive set, it was not a counter. That thing was going to get 2-shot either way. So I'm really hoping Kamala puts in some work, because the damage output on this thing is actually ridiculous, and I'm hoping to catch him off guard. This also does benefit me, because he generally has a slow team after it gets to below his base 100s, because he's not going to be running that much speed into Milotic and Mega Venusaur. But in case he did decide to speed creep some of those bulkier Pokemon, or like say Scizor on my Lando T, I do have Kamala to outspeed a Pokemon that crept my Landorus Therian if it was going to be a defensive variant. So that was the reasoning behind the speed investment. Other than that, I just put max attack with Adamant for the most potential damage output. I really didn't need to invest any in bulk, because unfortunately Kamala isn't that bulky. 65s in both HP and defense. 95 Spit F isn't too bad, but basically I'm just here to get in like a few good hits, and hopefully he's just forced to go into his bulky Pokemon near the end. Like if I can get rid of like maybe if he only has like 2 offensive Pokemon this match for some reason, if I can deal with those accordingly, Kamala can easily just destroy the rest of his team. Like I don't have to worry a Scald burn but from Milotic, because I can't be burned. It's like I'm just going to literally 2-shot everything on his team. I mean, there is a chance he can just like recover stall my Last Resorts, but I still feel like Kamala can put in a lot of work versus him, and I'm hoping it can, because this is the first time I'm bringing Kamala so far this season, and this set is just so awesome that I want to actually get a kill. Next up is the team leader in Boomy Landorus Therian with the Flyinium Z, Rock Polish, Fly Earthquake, and Swords Dance. The speed investment behind this Lando T at 130 does allow me to outspeed a Scarf Zoroark. The reasoning behind that is because I felt like Scarf Zoroark was a potential possibility. I don't necessarily think it's the best set for him to bring, but it's definitely a possibility. Really, I just didn't see a potential thing in Scarf Raichu. I mean, he could bring it, just so Greninja, Alakazam, those couldn't technically revenge. But once again, I felt like a Assault Vest would be more beneficial there. Also, Assault Vest would allow him to actually change up in moves and like not be locked into Electric, and then Lando comes in for free and gets off a potential U-turn. He can't really afford that with his team. So I feel like that's the reasoning behind that. Now, you might be wondering why I'm bringing Swords Dance when Unaware Quagsire already said 1,000,000% is coming. The reasoning behind that is Earthquake into Flyinium Z already kills Quagsire. And it also kills Milotic if he doesn't get the Marvel Scale boost and stuff like that. If he has leftovers, I think it might be a roll if he's just max defense lefties, so we have to watch out for that. But other than that, Lando actually just puts in work otherwise after it does get the rock polish off and potential SD. The reason behind this is, even though Quagsire does have the unaware and kind of going to be a little bit of an annoying Pokemon, I have also a Dragonite Charizard that I'm going to get to in a second. Basically, between dual setup, is I weaken Quagsire with one of them to where the point that the other one can set up later game, and Quagsire is not a check to them either. So I have two very solid win cons right here, where I can just easily take care of Milotic or Quag or both at the same time, or at least weaken them down to where the other one has the potential to sweep late game. And then just flying plus ground just absolutely destroys his team. The only unfortunate thing is if he does bring Tornadus, I do have to use a 2-turn buy versus if I dropped my Flying AMZ on something else, which I'm assuming I will. Other than that, basically Earthquake is just free versus the rest of his team. I would kind of prefer to save my Fly-Z for Mega Venusaur if it's still around, but if I can get rid of some of these bulky waters after like certain switch-ins, I'm fine with that. I'm not bringing Stealth Rocks this week, which kind of makes it a little bit harder on me, but I felt like I brought the best team possible. So after Lando, we are going to go into our Charizard. Once again, like I said, bringing double sweep potential to absolutely just wear down those bulky water types. Dragon Dance, Roost, Flare Blitz, Outrage. With this attack investment with 124 Adamant, because I can't afford to run Adamant like I already mentioned because of his speed tiers, it makes it so much easier for me to work around this. I'm going with the same speed tier, same speed tiering as my Lando T. Mainly because I still want to, yes, outspeed a Scarf Zoroark after +2. There's no point in me outspeeding a Scarf Raichu, especially with Charizard, because it's not really going to be doing anything to my Charizard X. Yes, so the attack investment with Adamant, I cut myself off. It will always 2-shot with Outrage on a defensive Quag and a defensive Milotic. That just makes it so much easier to actually like scare them out. Whether he's thinking I'm just going for a D-Dance, just a raw Outrage will 2-shot. Florges, of course, if it does come, I have to watch myself when I'm locking myself into that, because Mega Charizard X doesn't have the best Spadef, and Moonblast from Florges will be doing a good amount of damage, because Florges does have a nice base 112 special attack set, something around that. So it's definitely something I have to watch out for if he opts to bring it. Otherwise, locking myself into a Dragon-type move is really free versus him. Scizor can come in as a resist to Dragon, but it ain't going to do nothing to Mega Charizard X, unless it's like Natural Gift Ground this game for Charizard, and Toxic X would be pretty heat. But other than that, really not going to do anything. So getting him a few Dragon Dances and stuff like that is really free. Milotic is kind of setup fodder, even though I'm really expecting to have Haze along to go with a Monoware Quagsire just to counter both of them. But if I can get a Dragon Dances on like something versus his team, I can really just abuse it. Depending on his Venusaur, I might actually be capable of getting a lot of Dragon Dances up if he is just trying to get off Earthquakes and he's not that attack invested, stuff like that. So I just feel like Charizard's going to be more of the weaken, like the Pokemon that weakens the team, and Lando is actually the Pokemon that cleans up. But we'll just have to see. I'm going to work around it the best I can and see how it goes from there. Next up is a Pokemon that just felt like had a great matchup and is also another potential sweeper, and that is my Haxburb or Togekiss. Nasty Plot, Air Slash, Roost, Thunder Wave. It was pointed out to from my boy Silver Smasher that Togekiss, just Nasty Plot, Air Slash just absolutely destroys him. It just really does. Even though Raichu is a potential possibility and whatnot, apart from that, it just absolutely destroys the team. Victini, of course, is also a decent Revenger as well. Once again, like I mentioned, Raichu and Victini just actually need to be there just to destroy Togekiss and Toxapex together. But after those two are gone, Togekiss can actually clean up and just have the game with Nasty Plot Air Slash. The reason behind that is because Milotic and Quagsire need to be defensive this game. If he brings Kecleon, that's not too bad because Kecleon is actually setup fodder. To where I can just Nasty Plot and Roost up for Sizit constantly. The only way I kind of lose that fight is if he is a Rock Slide variant, which I'm not really expecting this game, so I can benefit from that. Otherwise, it will actually put in a decent amount of work, and I do have Thunder Wave in case I do need to get it on the Zoroark, because a Nasty Plot or SD Zoroark could be kind of a problem. I am holding the Cabuberry in order to live a +2 Sludge Wave comfortably. With the amount of bulk I have, really just allows me to just be a nice surprise counter to Zoroark, basically. Even if he comes in, he's like Choice Spec Zoroark and he has a Sludge Bomb, I can work around that, because if he thinks it's free to get it on my Togekiss, then you know, I have the Kembia, and then I just get a nice T-Wave off, or if I get off an Air Slash. I can't run Dazzling Gleam, unfortunately, for sure kill, but +2 Air Slash will still knock out Zoroark, so with the investment I have, so that's very nice for me. So Togekiss definitely looked like a potential late game sweeper, or just putting in a decent amount of work versus his team, but Lando T and Mega Charizard X are more of the ideal sweepers, because they have less things that can revenge them after they get their setup, apart from Togekiss, where Raichu and Victini are still solid checks afterwards. Next up is Toxapex, of course, always having this defensive monster every week, bringing the Payapa Berry regenerator ability, of course, Haze Recover Scald, Toxic Spikes. Reasoning behind this set is just basically defensive, you know, take on Scizor or whatnot. Also capable of taking on like a bulk up Tornadus if he opts to bring that. I can somewhat deal with Victini a little bit better if he is banded and he just tries to spam V-Create, even though once he sees my team, he might just spam Zen Headbutt, which is understandable if he opts to bring a Choice Band set. But this is more so to counter things like Scizor, Druddigon, Physical Tornadus, Physical Zoroark, those things. So, other part from that, with the 36 Spadef investment I have with the Spadef boosting nature, that allows me to live a Psychic with my Payapa Berry from Victini, basically living 2 Psychics. Taking one the Payapa Berry and one without, to where Toxapex still lives it and gets off 2 Skulls versus the Victini, or if I want to go ahead and get up my T-Spikes, because T-Spikes is very nice versus his team. He does get Defog and Tornadus and Scizor, which basically makes him immune, but I'm not expecting those two, and I'm not expecting a Mega Venusaur. So if I can freely get Toxic Spikes up versus his team and wear down those bulky water types, my Pokemon are going to have so much fun versus his team. So I also really just didn't need a 4th move on Toxapex, so the fact that I have potential Toxic Spikes versus his team are so helpful, and if I can force him to go into the Mega Venusaur if he does have it by bringing out Toxic Spikes, that allows for like free setup on my Lando T or my Mega Charizard, which is very key. So just doing that makes it so much easier for my team. It can really put momentum in my favor if he does bring those removers, and if he doesn't, it will just actually destroy his team, just tearing it apart. It's going to be so much easier for me to deal with it if I can actually keep them up for the entire game versus him. That'd be very ideal. And lastly, of course, is the Assault Vest, Electros, Unagi, U-Turn, Knockoff, Fire Punch, Giga Drain being another like physical set this week. I'm just kind of preferring physical now over the special. I can see where it does a little bit more work over time, so we're doing that. Enough Spadef to absolutely eat hits from Raichu and eat hits from a Nasty Plot Zoroark if needed be. More so a +2 Dark Pulse. I believe I can eat 2 after Stealth Rocks in case I get flinched. I think that was my reasoning behind this investment. I believe so. But basically, U-Turn, Knockoff, just some nice utility moves right there. Fire Punch allows me to God, what was Fire Punch before? Oh, just Scizor, of course, because I felt like I didn't have too much apart from Toxapex, because if somehow I would lose Toxapex, I felt like I still wanted something else for Scizor, you know. Fire coverage just kind of helps a little bit, so you know how it is. Also just gives me decent damage versus Raichu after I already like knock it off and stuff like that. And of course, Giga Drain allows me to hit the Quagsire and the Milotic. I'm not running Electric Stab, which is kind of awkward, but at the same time, I don't want Raichu to come in for free. And also, it doesn't really help me too much for his team. I would rather run Giga Drain in order to actually hit the Quagsire, because if I can go ahead and get that out of the way, if he's not expecting the Giga Drain coverage, then once again, one less bulky water type to deal with. So coming to the end of the team builder, it is pretty obvious my idea here for this game is to get rid of his bulky water types and try to get one of my sweepers in just to end the game. I'm really hoping I can do that with his team. I'm hoping Kamala can at least get 1 kill, because I really wanted to do so. Kind of more so a offensive team this week. We're only having 2 bulky mons, really. I guess you consider Togekiss kind of bulky, but it's ideal to be more of a offensive Pokemon this game. So hopefully we can put in work versus the Lynx. I think it's going to be a pretty close battle, honestly, because things like Victini and Zoroark and Raichu really scare me. So I just have to watch out for that. It's going to be hard breaking my Milotic, Quagsire, and another potential bulky Pokemon. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm assuming it's going to be a really close battle, and I'm looking forward to facing Lynx. So look forward to this tomorrow, and make sure to check out my P4G Next Gen battle as of yesterday if you haven't already. And that'll be it from me, guys. Make sure to sub, like, share, deuces.